And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Modern Home Economist, to two very chilly Modern Home Economists. I got on my sweater and you have on your wrap. Okay, so it is so good to have all of you guys join us tonight. And I guess I should get the correct notes up here in front of me instead of something else that I was looking at earlier. All right, so before we get started, let me just go ahead and just ask right off the bat, tell us your biggest homemaking stress points right now. Last week, we talked about the 4 pillars of homemaking. We talked about how different things work together. And tonight, we're going to drill down on 2 of them. But let us know right now, what are your 2, well, not your 2, but what is your biggest stress point right now? Is it laundry? Is it clutter? Is it dishes or something else? Tell us in the chat. And if you're here on the replay, let us know in the comment section below. And Miss Leona, while they're doing that, could you share what your biggest challenge was when you were doing the mommy life?
Oh, girl, the mommy life was laundry. Oh my goodness, my laundry would get so backed up. And I think part of it was because I didn't have a good routine. And that is key. And it took years before I really realized that that's what I needed. And I had 50 baskets. And
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Well, it seemed like I bought a new basket every week. And just because.
Now I can't believe this, but I guess I could. Now I had a client who had 8 laundry baskets, and she said every time they got full, she would just buy another one. She would just, when her kids needed clothes, she would just buy new ones.
Okay.
And okay, so we're gonna talk about that. But oh my God. I mean, literally, you have 50 baskets.
Well, not literally 50, but it just seemed like 50. It was way too many. And I'd have baskets. It seemed like I never had time to get everything folded in time. And, after it sits there in the basket for so long, then you got to iron. And that was back in the day where you had to really iron.
Iron everything.
And so,
dirty clothes on top of the clean clothes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And so it was, my mom would come and stay a few days. And that whole time she was there, she was determined that she was going to get me caught up. And so she would go in there, and I mean, she'd fold clothes for a day, just trying to get everything out of the basket. And she was so happy and proud of herself when she would go home. She said, "I'm so glad we got all those clothes out of the basket." And I so appreciated the fact that she did that.
Laundry, when I was a girl at home, laundry was a problem. There were 6 of us, including mom and dad. So that's 8 altogether, but there were 6 of us kids. And when I first remember, we didn't have our own washer and dryer. So we went to the laundromat. So every Saturday, my dad or my mom would drop me and my sister Levina off at the laundromat because Blue Skies was a baby, so she didn't have to do anything. She would drop us off at the laundromat. So there was always laundry, just loads and loads and loads and loads of laundry. And 6 kids, and 2 of them, on the end were toddlers and babies. There was always lots of laundry.
Oh yeah.
So when I got married and had my own home, laundry wasn't as much of as a problem, but keeping the house clean. That was the biggest struggle for me, was staying on top of the housekeeping, because I didn't have a system for that. So needless to say, when I was at home as a girl, that was a struggle at home for my mom as well. Now, my dad could clean the house, but my mom, she had some challenges in that regard. So when I did learn about housekeeping, I learned from my dad.
Oh,
a man that could sweep a floor or clean the house, my dad could do it. So, but when I had my own home and didn't have the reinforcement of mom and dad there, I was just always overwhelmed. The house was always a mess. And if I was working on something, let's say if I was working on a sewing project, I'd be out in the middle of the living room working on it. I remember one day I was working on it. I had stuff all cut out all over the floor. I was doing this and that. And somebody came home with my husband.
Oh no.
He was so embarrassed. He was so embarrassed because it was just a mess. And I just couldn't keep up with things. Now I'm just so glad that I that's not a problem for me now.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it nice how years and wisdom can be helpful?
That is for sure. But I have to admit, now when it came to the house cleaning side of it, I stayed in check with that.
Hmm.
I could do that, and I'm kind of anal about stuff being around. And I
Hmm.
was always afraid that somebody would walk in the door because Conway was real good at bringing people in. And
Hmm.
there was another reason why I always made sure dinner was at a certain time, because he had young fellas who were single that worked under him. So it
Hmm.
was nothing for him to say, "Oh, Joe, come on home. What you can eat whatever Leona's got going for dinner." And so, it was nothing to have somebody come in and bam, I got company for dinner.
Uh-huh.
And so, I got used to taking care of that part, but it was just getting that laundry together. It was down in the basement, so nobody ever saw
Hmm.
it, but it
Okay.
existed.
Well, since I've asked the question, and if you're listening, we're gonna get into it in just a minute. But let's just see what people are saying is their biggest challenge over here. And so we've got let's see, we have got Tutu is here and Ann Allen is here. So we're glad to have you guys here. And so Psalm 146 is here.
Mhm.
And Psalm 146, you left us about 8 or 9 messages this morning, but they were all disappeared when we got ready to start the show. But we did see them and we're going to act on them. But she says her biggest problem is clutter. And clutter can be quite overwhelming. So Britt says that hers is laundry. She
Mhm.
she says her toddler is in a
Oh.
phase where she changes her clothes a lot, so it's never ending. And that is funny when they get to a point where they can kind of put their own clothes on or
Mhm.
pick out their own things. It's kind of like they do just kind of get in there and just yeah. Mhm. Um, and then Molly's here, and Anne is. Oh, so Anne says clutter. Right now, I'm not going to
Mhm.
greet everyone, but hello and greetings to everyone who has joined us. We appreciate you. And Hazel said hers is clutter. And she says not only does she, oh, Hazel, I hear it. She says not only does she have her clutter, but some of her parents' clutter who have
Mhm.
passed on. And
Mhm.
it's hard to let go of things. And so, Hazel, one of the things that I'm going to say with that, and I'm beginning to work on that myself, is some of the clutter that you receive from parents, one, take a picture of it and then put those memories in a photo album
Mhm.
or share it with other family members. Like maybe you've got a niece or a nephew or someone say, you know what, this used to be grandma's so and so. Wouldn't you like to have grandma's cake dish in your house? And many times they will say yes. So think
Mhm.
about how you can share some of that with grandchildren or
Mhm.
other relatives that might like to have some of that. And
That's
then
true.
if it comes to shove, donate. What do you think about that, Leona?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Donate? Maybe? Like
Donate,
there's
absolutely.
a
And you can donate to places. I know, Goodwill, some people have problems with Goodwill because then they turn around and sell it. But there are some places that I'm sure that are in your area where you can donate and they actually give it to people. Or if it's something that's really, really nice, then take it to a really nice thrift store where you know that whatever home it goes to, they will take care of it.
Yes. There's a thrift store in our town called the Dove's Nest, and
Mhm.
they use the proceeds to donate to various missions around the
Mhm.
country or, around the world. And their um, glass dishware section is
Mhm.
like going to Macy's. I mean, they have it set up beautifully. And
Mhm.
sometimes I get a little sad when I go in there because I know that all these beautiful things
Mhm.
belong to someone, but they're being very well cared for and shared. Because I picked up a
That's
couple
nice.
things myself and a
Me
couple things
too.
I got for my daughter that I thought she would enjoy in her home. So
Mhm.
yeah, someone that's going to treat them respectfully. So I would do
Absolutely.
that kind of stuff there
Mhm.
rather than the Goodwill. But
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
let's see. Uh,
Dahlia. Oh, okay. You're up there at the top.
Yeah,
Uh,
Tutu says she gave up singing for fear of little ones getting stuck with the straight pins. Oh, she gave up sewing.
Going. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my kids learn not to mess with stuff.
Dahlia
Oh
is
yeah,
talking about.
Coco. Hey, she's back again this week.
Oh, good.
She was new last week, so hey, Coco, good to have you. Oh, so now this one is
Mhm.
Dahlia says her biggest problem is school supplies, and for 5 kids, they are everywhere. So, Leona, you got any suggestions for
Well,
that?
I
Being a
do.
former middle school
Yes,
teacher?
because I do understand. Because not only did I have the kids' school supplies, I had mine. So I had a designated area that was designated to school supplies, and we had one place where everybody did their school work. So because of that, I left that. We usually did it in the dining room unless it was Christmas or Thanksgiving. But I left that table set up with nice containers for the the coloring, the books, all that stuff. There was a bookshelf somewhere where they could store it, and got them into the routine of knowing, okay, when you finish with the crayons, they need to go back in their container. Everything had a container and was labeled, so that helped. And so I do understand with school supplies, it is very difficult, but
Mhm.
that's where bins come in
Yes.
very handy. And just kind of give them one particular place where it's easy for them to put all the scissors in there, all the rulers in there, all the such and such in there. Because I mean, I had, like I said, I had theirs and I had my things too. So it was a chore.
I hear you too, because my husband's a retired art teacher. So he taught
Mm-hmm.
arts and crafts, and so we still have those kind of school supplies everywhere.
I do
But he
too.
does have a lot of them in his studio. And then if he's working on something downstairs in the living room in front of the TV, he's
Mhm.
got a little crate and a few things where he's working close to that he can put them there. Or if
Yeah.
he's making enough bobbers for the free world and painting them different colors, it's all right there. And then he can just kind of
Hmm.
pick it up and put it up in his studio in the closet or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, Oh, and so Daya is also homeschooling. So
Oh,
if you're
bless her heart.
homeschooling, then you
Hmm.
need to have like a little classroom set up with
Hmm.
bookshelves and things like that, and certain areas for where those things go. You just go ahead and set it
Absolutely.
up like a classroom.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Nitty says they didn't have a laundry routine and they were busy. She would buy more clothes and underwear so she didn't have to do it. You know what? I guess that's not as odd as I thought. Because when my client said she had 8 laundry baskets and she would just buy more clothes and throw the dirty ones in the basket, I was like, what? So, but okay, so that's pretty common. So we're not gonna do shaming because of that. Now I was
No,
teaching Miss Leona
no,
because
because I'd have to be at the top of the shame
yeah,
pile.
I was teasing Miss Leona, but like we all have our thing that we need to have some
Hmm.
help with. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit more tonight. I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. But Tutu has trouble letting go. Yesterday, she gave
Yeah.
up a too small dining table from 1945. It
Oh,
was time she had
wow.
trouble letting go. From 1945,
Wow.
oh my, that was a family heirloom.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, Renee Jones says she would have a stack of school supplies, but she purchased underbed bins and
Hmm.
stored them under the bed out of sight. Oh, that's a good
Hmm.
idea.
Hmm. That's true. That's true.
And then Nitty T decluttered her home last year, so she's super focused on maintaining it. So she needs to do a second round in her bakeware cabinet so she can get rid of a few more things. I've been working on that myself. I've been working on that myself. I
Okay.
love bakeware.
Okay.
And then Heather says general cleaning is her biggest challenge. With 3 big shedding dogs, it seems
Oh,
impossible to keep the house clean.
that's.
Heather, I have a some kind of a mop floor kind of thing that I got from Blue
Mhm.
Sky that's specifically for if you have pets and they shed, things
Mhm,
like that. I'll have
mhm.
to get the name. I think I saw Blue Skies on here. If I
He's
did,
he's on there. Mhm,
Nikki, what's the name of that vacuum kind of
mhm.
thing that you had that was
Mhm.
for uh, keeping the floor up when you have animals? We were
Yeah.
at the vet when we took Kitty to the vet the last, not the
Mhm.
last time, but the time before last. There was a guy there with a huge dog, and that dog was shedding like crazy. We could see the dog literally shedding while we were
Oh,
sitting there.
no.
By the time they took the dog in the back to be treated, there was like dog hair all over the floor.
Oh
And we
my
were talking to
goodness.
I got to talk to everybody. And he vacuums the house once a week. And he said every a couple of times a week. And he said he brushes the dog out once a week. He said I just
Mhm.
can't brush him more than once a week.
Right.
The dog was shedding like crazy. But Blue Sky,
Oh,
what that thing is?
okay. Yeah. It's hard. And I know my son has two dogs and a cat, and it
Mhm,
seems like all of them shed.
mhm,
And so I noticed that there's a lady who is that I watched on YouTube, and she keeps these decorative throws like
mhm.
over her couches, because if she doesn't do that, then her couches are covered with all the dog hair. And so I told him, I said, you need this, because you've got the same thing going on. Because if you have dark clothes, as soon as you sit down, they're covered.
Yeah, and that's what we do now with our cat. For those of
Mhm.
you that know, we've been adopted by a cat, and so he gets in the two chairs in the living room, and the one chair he was getting in, so we put a sheet over it, and then he started getting into the next one, so we put like an old bathrobe of my husband's over that one. He likes to lay in that one because he can, know this is like smells like my husband. But yeah, so that way you can lift it off, throw it in the wash, vacuum the sofa, the chair, whatever, and then put another
Mhm.
one down. So Psalm 146, tell us your name. We like to know each other's names over here. And Leona, this is the one that said she really loved how you talked about the building the meals with the protein and the
Oh,
veggies.
good, good.
You said you
Well,
really helped her out quite a bit. So Psalm 146, tell us your name, and then we'll go from there.
yes.
But okay. And then Blue Skies doesn't remember what the thing was. So okay.
Okay,
And
okay.
then Alexandria, hey Alexandra.
Hi.
She's a longtime viewer and wants to thank us for helping her become a better home economist. Boom! What
Yay.
we want to do. So, okay, I'm going to quit chatting and we're going to get into today's topic. So, but thank you guys so much. I got a page full of notes right here. Miss Leona's got some notes over there, and we're going to try to go ahead and get at it. So, the first one question that we wanted to ask was to let us know your biggest homemaking stress point: laundry, clutter, dishes, or something else. And a lot of people were saying clutter, and then a few people said laundry and all of that. And I like laundry, but my sister Blue Skies or Soft Pages Studio says I'm crazy. She says, I don't know what's wrong with you. But anyway, so last week we talked about why so many women feel like they're just starting over every day.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
one of the things that Miss Leona had us to think about was that systems really matter. So tonight we are going to go a little deeper, not with new ideas,
Mhm,
but with the ones we've already talked about, with livable ones.
mhm.
And this is especially for the two moms that jumped on last week. And Leona, I don't remember their names,
I
but they said
know.
stay at home moms. They had toddlers and they
Mhm,
were completely overwhelmed with
mhm,
just with everything.
mhm.
And so they have full days and just the home never seems finished. So I want to start out by saying that being overwhelmed is not a personal failure.
No.
I think we've all been there at some
Mhm,
point.
mhm,
And it's often a lack of rhythm, a lack of
mhm.
system, not necessarily a lack of effort. Because
That's
I remember when I had taken the twins to the doctor, they must have been about 3. They were running all over the place. They were getting into things. I'm trying to get them to quiet down. And I remember saying, Dr. Villanueva, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And he said, mothers of twins are always overwhelmed. That
mhm,
this is
mhm,
normal, which
mhm.
validated my feeling that, oh, okay, I'm not a failure. So if you've got toddlers, It's
Mhm.
like having a set of twins or a set of triplets. So
That's
they're
right.
busy. And if they're different ages, they're going to be busy with different things.
Oh yeah.
Not a sign of a failure. And the systems we've been talking about are meant to support you and your family,
Hmm.
not to burden you.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
Leona, do you want to kind of bring up a little bit of last week's conversation? Just a little bit.
Yeah, we did talk last week, and it was a really good conversation. But overwhelm was a big thing of trying to avoid that. And the best way is to be able to take one's kind of focus on one system at a time
Mhm,
rather than trying to change everything. Because sometimes I know I'm not good at that. If I tear up everything,
mhm,
then I thought I was overwhelmed, but then I'm going to be beyond overwhelmed and I'm going to be really stressed. And
mhm.
so, for many of us, if we start with one particular focus and do it in baby steps so it doesn't just fall down on you and you think, oh my goodness, I just can't do this anymore. Because you know what usually happens if you get really overwhelmed, then
Mhm.
you stop doing what you were doing and
Yes.
you just push it off to the side and say, I can't even look at that right now. And
Mhm,
that's the way I was with laundry. After I got to a certain point, it's like I can't look at that anymore. And so try one system at a time, one system.
mhm.
And that is the way to be able to work your way through what you're doing. But do understand, if you're young and you're new at it, you're going to have overwhelm. Expect
Yes.
it. Expect
Mhm,
it. And for those of us who have been around a while and we've been working our way through the mud, we
mhm.
have days when we're overwhelmed too. So
Yes.
understand, wherever you are, the possibility of overwhelm can hit. And
Mhm.
so we all are working together.
Yes, we're all working through it.
Mhm.
So, if I had to name what were the two areas that cause the most difficulty in the daily lives for most homemakers, it would be homekeeping
Mhm.
and laundry.
Mhm.
And the thing about homekeeping or housekeeping, somebody might
Mhm.
say,
Mhm.
and laundry is that it's never done. It's
Mhm.
never done.
Never.
It's one of those ongoing processes that you always have. And many lifestyle publications and surveys list laundry and daily housekeeping as
Mhm.
top stressors for caregivers, which if
Mhm.
you're trying to manage some little ones, if you got some parents you're caring for or whatever, that validates where you are.
Mhm.
And caregiving could be, like I said, you're caring for children, or it could
Mhm.
be caring for you and your hubby, could be
Mhm.
just trying to care for, your home. But that's something to think about. And there was a survey by the AARP in their home and family surveys that
Mhm.
often ranked laundry and cleaning the house among the most frequently cited household chores that people dislike.
You know what? And that's so true. That is so true. And the good thing is that we know at this point, Miss Denise and I know, you can work your way out of it. You
Hmm.
can work
Right.
your way out of it. And we're going to try to give you tips to get you through it. And you just take it one tip at a time. One
Hmm.
tip at a time.
And here's the thing, too. Um, the thing about laundry and housekeeping is that it's a constant thing. And so it
Mhm.
creates decision fatigue. And we talked about decision
Yes,
fatigue
yes, we did.
week, and I think the
Mhm.
week before.
Yeah.
So if you have a system related to how you can manage these things, you
Mhm.
won't have quite so many decisions to make. And
That's
then the other thing about laundry and clutter and housekeeping is it's visible. You can see
yes.
it. Now,
Yes.
your laundry was in the basement, so folks couldn't see it, but
Right.
you knew it was there. So it was still weighing on your mind.
Mhm. Mhm. That's true. That's true. And decisions are something that will keep you up at night.
Yes.
I promise you, I know. I kept the notepad next to the bed. And during the middle of the night, it would wake me up. And I would write in the middle of the night things that I needed to do, things that I didn't want to forget. And, and most of our moms today, if they're not working outside of the home, a lot of them are working in the home. Some are working from home
Yes.
in addition to all the other things that they have to do
Mhm.
for the home. And so, when we were young, our moms didn't have some of those decisions to have to
No.
deal with. And so they were able to be the Joan Cleaver,
Mhm.
and you see them in their cute little pearls and their necklace, and oh, they look so cute, and nothing's ever out of place. Honey, get real. But
Yeah.
you still look at magazines, and this is the thing. When I was going over these notes, I thought, we're still looking not at the cleavers, but we're still looking as we look through the perfect home,
Well,
the
if you think
perfect
about it now,
place.
think about Pinterest. Think
Yes,
about Instagram, and if you
yes.
think about the YouTube videos that you see, you don't see real life. Now, if y'all looked at my kitchen right now, y'all would be like, whoa, because it looks like somebody dropped a bomb on it. So we're getting our carpet cleaned tomorrow. So, all the stuff that was in the dining room, all the stuff that was on my prep shelf, all that stuff is in the kitchen, just stacked everywhere so that the
Mhm.
carpet cleaners can get in here tomorrow.
Yeah,
But you don't see that. That's not
right.
something that I normally would show
Mhm.
you. So if people have this kind of thing going on, you don't see it. You just see
That's
the
true.
nice little, the sanitized view. And
Hmm.
that's not
Hmm.
real life. That's
No,
not real life. So homework and laundry are not one-time tasks.
that's right.
They are rhythms that repeat, and that repetition is what makes them so heavy because you have to do it again the next day and then the
Hmm.
next day. So most homemakers spend more hours weekly on laundry and cleaning than on any other household chore.
That's true.
That's why having a system matters.
Absolutely. And that is why the one load a day works.
Hmm. Hmm.
Number one, and I wasn't so sure it was going to work when I first started, to be honest with you, because I'm the you have to do the dark clothes day, well, you have to do light clothes day too. And so I was trying to kick it up and do two. Now remember, I'm the person that had the baskets full of clothes. But as you think about that, but then I figured out, take a deep breath. All right, today we do dark clothes, tomorrow we'll do white clothes. And then you realize, I don't mind going in the laundry room. It's not stressful. I can get it done. And so what I started doing was actually setting the tub up, just like we set up our kitchen and we get
Hmm.
our kitchens clean before we walk upstairs or wherever your bedroom is. I set my laundry room up.
Wow.
So before I go to bed, I go in there. Make sure the clothes are in, make sure all the detergent, all that stuff is in there. But it's not until the morning that I actually hit the button for it to go. And
Hmm.
then I pull the things out of, transfer things over to the dryer and let them run. So it's developing a system that you can do that keeps it smooth.
Exactly, exactly. And that's the thing. You don't need a fancy system. You just need a rhythm. And so you learn that your rhythm became getting them ready the night before, putting them
Mhm.
in the tub or whatever so that they were ready to go. And then you could push the button first thing in the morning.
Mhm.
So the thing about laundry is that laundry needs a time,
Mhm.
not constant attention. So if you have a time that you've assigned to that,
Mhm.
then that is what's most helpful. So your time was to have it first thing in the morning, well, get it,
Mhm.
prep it at night, and
Mhm.
then get it put together or start the machine first thing in the
Mhm.
morning. And so for me now, my thing is that I'm going to do a load of laundry first thing in the morning. And
Mhm.
while I'm going through my day, I'm going to transfer it to the dryer. When it
Mhm.
comes out, I'm going to hang the clothes up or fold the clothes up and get them put
Mhm.
away. And one thing that's helpful to me is that I will have hangers right there in my laundry area.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that when those shirts come out of the dryer, I can hang them up, shake them out, hang them up, and I can put them right in my husband's closet. And if some of you are saying, well, don't you iron them? Absolutely not. I used to, but then one day I was ironing his shirts, and I thought, wait a minute. When we were in college, he ironed all his own clothes. He did his own laundry. And I thought, I walk out of his house every day just like he does. Why am I ironing his shirts? And I didn't iron another shirt after that. So if they had to be ironed, he irons them. But I make sure I get them out so they're not wrinkled. They look nice. You know, he was a school teacher, had a shirt and tie, but still, he was a school teacher. He wasn't an attorney, so he didn't have to have crisp white cups and all that kind of thing. Now, when he worked as an usher, when he retired, he had an usher wearing one of the red coats at the Coliseum. You know, you go to them those theaters, and you have the little red coats. He did that for a while. Or white shirts. So part of my routine was every Monday I washed white shirts. I white revive, but I worked with them, so those white shirts were bright white. Got them out of the wash, out of the dryer. I got them hung up nicely. He had the whitest shirts on the crew. I was old school. I didn't want ring around the collar, and I didn't want any dingy white shirts.
That's right.
I made sure they didn't need to be ironed.
That's right.
So that was what I did in that regard. But here's the other thing too. And my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters kind of helped me sort this out. I was there with them one week, and I was helping them do laundry, and I was folding up underwear. She said, "Oh, Grandma, we don't fold underwear." She said, "No, just put it in the drawer." Well, I fold up underwear. She said, "No,
me too."
But when you're smaller, number one, when you're smaller, underwear is smaller.
Yeah.
Just stack it up. Why do you need to fold up toddlers' underwear or little boys, them little shorts that they wear? You can just stack them up and put them in the drawer. Because here's the thing. Laundry needs to be washed, dried, and put away.
That's right.
It doesn't have to be folded. Now, still fold my laundry.
I do.
However, you know, but Leona, I told you when I was with my youngest son and his family, by the time he gets home from work, as he's been driving 2 hours during the day, an hour to drive the girls to school, drop them off, an hour to get back home, it's 7:30 sometimes by the time they get home.
Oh,
they're
wow.
getting dinner on the table. I can see why they do things the way they do. And when they wash clothes, they throw everything in together.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, they just throw everything together. And one time my washing machine was broke, so I had to go to the laundromat to do a couple loads. No, I had taken someone to the laundromat. That was it. It's been a long time since I've washed my clothes at the laundromat. I had taken someone to the laundromat, and I was kind of observing because, you know, I'm nosy like that.
Me too.
Came in. He was waiting for one of those real big washers. And I said, oh, there's a whole row over there that's empty. You know, I'm being helpful. I'm like that commercial where you're acting like your parents.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, no, I want one of those big ones. I'm just going to put everything in there all at once. I said, all of them? He had 2 or 3 baskets worth of clothes, but he was going to throw them all in one big washer and wash them all at once. Now, I didn't go into a spiel about why this wasn't a good idea. But what I learned is that, and then also from watching my young son, now they don't overfill the washing machine.
Right.
Laundry like I do. But I realized, one, they don't have time for that.
That's right.
They don't have time for that. And more importantly, today's clothes behave differently in the wash than when, let's say, my children were little.
Yeah.
There's better dyes, so there's not as much bleed on the clothing. So you can wash clothes together if they behave the same way in the wash.
Right.
But, or you might want to think about dye risk. Now, I did bring a couple of things. Let me just grab it.
Okay.
You know, I'm good for show and tell. So when I talk about dye risk, I'm talking about navy, red, then, you know, you got your little white polos. So now the red and the navy is more likely to bleed if it's not a good dye. That's a good dye job. So depending upon the brand, that kind of thing, the dye might be better. The other big dye risk.
Jeans. Yes,
So
yes,
when we
yes.
talk about washing things that behave together, if the
Mhm,
clothes are older, they've been washed
mhm,
quite a few times, you've
mhm,
probably already washed out, the dye
mhm,
risk is probably a lot less.
mhm.
You can look at fabric weights, you've got
Right.
towels and,
Mhm,
like little delicates, and you've
mhm,
got heavier things like fleece and all that. So
mhm,
you can look today more at weight of the fabric, whether or
mhm.
not there's a big dye risk, that kind of thing.
Right.
So those are things to think about. So I would say that washing lights and darks is really outdated advice.
Mhm.
I'm doing a short on that if I can figure out how to get it transferred from the phone to the computer because I'm struggling with the new software. But pretty much it's outdated advice.
Mhm.
However, I still wash that way.
That I do too.
But if you throw everything in together
Mhm,
and you've looked at whether or not the dye risk is an issue, then
mhm.
it's okay.
Yeah,
If separating lights and darks work for you, as my husband says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
that's
But
it.
just think about that.
Mhm. And vinegar. I use a cup of vinegar. If I'm going to do something, and especially occasionally a red shirt will get in with something, and if it's the first time it's been washed, then it's going into a vinegar wash,
Mm-hmm.
and that I will add to it because that's going to help to set that color.
Yes.
And you do want to be able to do that because so often red, I don't care what you do to it, red will bleed.
It will bleed. And so those
Mhm,
first few times you wash something that's, like
mhm,
the first few times you wash these things,
mhm.
you're going to want to wash them by themselves, and
Absolutely.
use cold water and use
Mhm.
a delicate cycle, not have
Mhm.
a real rough cycle. So that's what you
Yeah.
want to do there the first few times you do that. Tutu is, I'm not sure what she's doing. She's got a lot of, bubbles. What's her name? I forgot, Leona.
Relax bubble. I didn't pull. I want to say Dolores, but I don't think that's right. Dolores.
Oh, because I was like, wait, what's she getting all these oh, here she
Oh,
starts here.
okay.
When she gets discouraged with the amount of work, oh,
That's
Debbie watches
sweet.
our videos and gets inspired and energized. Oh,
Thank
Tutu,
you.
thank you. That is so kind.
That
That is
is
so
sweet.
kind. And then it's Lisa Wright is saying
Lisa,
hello. Hello,
right?
Lisa.
Good. Glad to
And
have
then
you.
Tutu said she had a win. She
Yay.
made beef stroganoff from leftover beef in her freezer from the Costco size Christmas roast.
All
She
right.
was
All right.
fabulous and something new in her repertoire. So yes,
All right.
flavor profile.
Woohoo.
So that's why she was getting all those accolades.
Yes.
Like, wait,
Yes.
what's happening here? We missed something. So relax, Bubble. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Tell us your name again. But okay. And Debbie's here.
Yes.
Says it sounds delicious. Congratulations to people who had wins today.
Mhm.
And
Someone earlier was talking about spices, and
oh yes, let me back up because I know that's your thing.
and let's see.
Oh, Renee Jones.
Renee. Okay. She said hers is seasoning and spices clutter. Well, I did an overhaul of my pantry and worked on those seasonings and spices. So be sure to check that out.
Mhm.
And but it is difficult to do. And what I found was that being able to put them in a good place where it's easy access. I love my spice rack, I love all of that, but it's got several layers to it, and it's in that lower portion of the kitchen cabinet, so it's not easy to see. So what
Mhm.
I found is that a lot of my spices were kind of getting lost in the shuffle because I couldn't see them. So
Mhm.
I had to take them out, put them in a place where it was easy for me to see them, especially those that I know I'm going to use a lot. And you may even consider making some mixes so that you don't have to buy mixes. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something that we can take a look at and certainly, play around with. And
What about expiration dates?
yes, oh yeah, look at
'Cause
those.
I know you like your spices fresh.
Yes, because sometimes they're gone if they've been around a while, and so if you've had them for over a couple of years, they probably are not as potent as what you would like. And so, and of course, your half-used condiment bottles in the fridge. Look at the dates on those as well, but try your best, at least within this month, to use as many of those as you can.
So are you trying to say that the sassafras leaves or something like that, or some kind of started with an S that cost me $16 for a bottle that I never used that I've had in there for 10 years is probably outdated?
It might be.
I
It
didn't want
might
to throw
be.
it away because it cost so much.
I know. And see, things like that, like, that's kind of a specialty item.
Never
So when I
used it.
go to something special, like I try to get the teeny tiniest bottle that I can find. And in fact, I have to admit, because I know eventually it's not going to be perfect, I search. I search until I can find a 4 ounce or whatever
Mhm.
ounce bottle, so that because the 9 times out of 10, you're going to see the big bottle. And that's the one that you'll end up buying, because
Mhm.
the little ones are not as easily available. And so look for that smaller bottle. But I would taste it before you throw it out, Denise, and see if
I
it's
think
still
I
working.
already pitched it. I think I pitched it the last time we did a spice because I know I'd had it
Mhm,
at least 10 years and I had bought it for a particular recipe,
mhm.
never made the recipe. And so I never had a use for the item. And I just kept,
Oh,
putting it back in there, putting it
mhm.
back in there. And I thought, you know what? You didn't have this thing 10 years, pitch it.
And didn't
Try
use
again.
it. Oh, wow.
Oh, now Debbie said she has a red shirt, which she has washed and had at least for 10 years, and it still bleeds when she washes it. So
Oh,
if that's the
no.
case, Debbie, then you want to make sure you're only washing it with red or
Oh,
washing
yeah.
it with red and some other dark color so that if it
Mhm.
bleeds, it doesn't show up on the other colors.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's get back on.
Aw, Kentucky Stevens here tonight.
Oh, is he? Oh, wait. Let me find him. Where, where,
He's
where?
right there under Debbie, where she was talking about her red shirt. He said, we're at 8:24.
Okay. 8:24. Oh,
Oh,
there he is.
he
I need
got
to
his.
put these glasses
Hey,
on.
Stephen. I'm a Kentucky girl, so I know about that. He said it inspired him last week to clean up his upstairs food pantry. Aw, thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. And we
Yes,
are
it is.
always happy to have you right here in the chat,
Yes,
because
indeed.
you're going to give us some good information. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
All right.
Aw.
Oh, wait. Christine said she made sauteed veggies go 3 rounds thanks
All
to Miss
right.
Leona. Boom.
Yay, yay. It
Yeah.
worked. I'm
So
telling you.
coming up with these flavor profiles. All right. Well, looks like
Absolutely.
we're getting some other things. So let me just go on. So Steph
Stephanie.
from
Okay.
California. She cleaned half of the fridge today a few chats ago.
Mm-hmm.
So Bubbles is Steph.
All right.
Now, Steph, I did want to say that I am a woman of a certain age, and every now and then I do forget names. So
Me too.
just
Forgive us.
forgive me. I'm trying to get there. So just forgive me. Okay, so let's see. Um, so we were talking about when you're doing that laundry, and we're talking about having
Mhm.
a rhythm for the laundry. One of the things that I do know is that if you have a baby or if you have toddlers, you
Mhm.
will have more laundry
Oh,
than
yeah.
someone who has older children.
Mhm.
So you got a baby, you're gonna probably need to do 2 loads a day. If you
Mhm.
have 2 toddlers, you're probably gonna need to do 2 or 3 loads a day,
Mhm.
and which can work for you.
Mhm.
And then with the little ones, their clothes are so little that it would be easy to stack, or like the
Mhm.
little jeans, just fold them in half and lay them
Mhm.
in a drawer or something like that. But they just need to be put away. They don't have to be folded on nice and neat and all that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Or you could get some of those little clippy hangers and
Oh
pull
yeah,
them up
they're
and
great.
across,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. Now, the one thing that I did, and Leona, let me know what you did. I always washed my children's clothes separately from my husband and myself.
I did too.
And, I don't have any science behind that,
What?
but I did work in the hospital, and I was
Mhm.
always conscious of whatever I might have been around during the
Mhm.
day. We
Mhm.
wore uniforms for a
Mhm.
reason. And then
Yeah.
you come home, you take off your uniform, and I was concerned about what I might bring home.
Mhm.
I want to
Mhm.
wash that stuff with what I washed with the kids. So when the kids were babies and toddlers and that kind
Mhm.
of thing, I wash their clothes separately. And they don't hang out in places where adults go. So
Right, right. Well, one thing, you probably started, I know this is when I started, when you first come home from the hospital and they're new,
mhm,
you want to make sure that you wash everything. And
yes,
that's because of the fact that most of their little clothes are new. And that was one of the things you did when you were getting ready for the
yeah,
baby to come home, was to make sure that all the clothes were perfect. Well, you stayed in that routine because you just felt like their clothes needed to be washed. I know I used a particular detergent for them that I
dress,
didn't use. Yes, yes, that or
ivory.
ivory, and that I did not necessarily use on the big guy and I. And so I stayed in that routine until they went to kindergarten, and then I knew they were bringing home as many germs as I was bringing home. So it didn't
Yeah,
matter at that point. We just
yes.
washed. But while they were young, at least up to about 3 or 4, I did. I
Mhm.
made sure that they were done by themselves. And for a while, I don't know about you, but I went through the stage of I think I did it well, no, I did it with both, where I actually had diapers
Oh
and we
yeah,
had to
we had
wash
diapers.
diapers. And so, because trying to buy things like Pampers and that kind of thing, they were so expensive at that point.
Mhm.
And, we were fairly newlyweds and new. And so, we had a lot of other things we needed to do other than just buy diapers. So I had to wash diapers.
Well,
But
yeah, when we were having our children, just about everybody had cloth diapers, and
absolutely.
disposable diapers were relatively new. And so
Yes.
oh my God, you would think we were in the dark ages.
I know, but it really
Those
hadn't been that
disposable
long, guys.
in
It
the
really
diaper bag, you took them away with you and that
hadn't.
kind of thing. But just imagine, we used to have to use cloth diapers, and you had to
Hmm.
save them in your bag and take them home and soak them and do all that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
yes.
But when I had my last child, we had diaper service. And
Yes,
then we
yes.
went to um, disposable diapers. And now
Mhm,
it is rare to find anyone using cloth diapers. And if they
mhm.
do, they're using them for bird cloths.
Oh, yeah. Well, back in the day of the Sears Roebuck catalog,
Hmm.
Sears actually had disposable diapers that you could order, and you could order this huge case of them. And
Wow.
the problem with that, it was great having the case, especially for a while with the second, but they outgrow them so fast, the
Hmm.
size of them. And so I ended up giving a portion of the initial diapers away to someone else who needed them because the baby was growing. And
Hmm.
so you just you get into a routine. And then after a while I realized, this was really nice. And my mom was so into making sure you had cloth diapers and all that. And I thought, okay, mom, but I got to go to work the next day. So I can't
Hmm.
spend the whole time trying to sew diapers. So we went to the disposables.
Yeah. So let me just ask the chat, do you guys separate your kids' clothes from adult clothes? Let us know. And if you do, or if you don't, let us know why or why not. So tell us that in the chat. We've already talked about what we did. And then we talked about the light and the dark. We talked about dye risk,
Hmm.
meaning, whether or not the clothes might fade, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Fabric weight, so towels versus pajamas, fleece versus like lightweight clothing. And then use, meaning baby clothes versus adults.
Hmm.
So we talked about that, but now let's talk about a weekly routine for how you're going to do that. So I was saying earlier, when my husband was working as a red coat, he and I had white shirts to wash every week. I did white shirts on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And since Monday was also part of my weekly home blessing, where I stripped the bed, I would strip the sheets. So I would do sheets on Monday. And once the sheets were done, then I would do white shirts on Monday, because I wanted to make sure he had his shirts for the week and I didn't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, and then maybe on Tuesday, I might have done darks. On Wednesday, I might have done light. And then, or you might want to do kids' clothing or something like that. On Friday, do catch up. Now, this is for the mom that's home. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
you're working outside of the home,
Mm-hmm.
then you're probably going to be spending your weekend doing laundry, unless
Yes.
you're able to do 1 or 2 loads during the week. I know one of my
Absolutely.
girlfriends, one of my sorors, she said, I absolutely refuse to spend my weekend doing laundry. So
Yeah.
she got her laundry done during the week.
Mm-hmm.
When I was working, I was spending my weekend doing laundry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you what, trying to develop those laundry days was a challenge. And because I had my son was pretty much whatever you put on him, he pretty much stayed. But
Mhm.
my daughter was like whomever that was at the beginning. Every time I looked up, she had changed into something new.
Mhm.
And so, it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you wore so and so. And so usually on Saturday, I had at least 1 or 2 loads that I was going to have to do, but it usually wasn't gigantic.
Mhm.
But certainly trying to do a load a day really helped. And I would
Mhm.
just bring whatever came out of the dryer up to the kitchen table. And, because I fed the kids early, so they could have cared less, but I was folding clothes while they were eating dinner. That's what
Yeah.
so you have to multitask sometimes to get the job done.
And let's talk about something else too. One of the things that so often women don't do is pay for services.
Mhm, mhm.
Men will pay for a service in a minute if it
Yes, they
helps
will.
to ease their life. So if
Mhm,
you can afford to, if your husband needs to have white shirts,
mhm.
send them puppies out.
Yep.
And I don't know how much it costs to get shirts done at the dry cleaners today, because, like I said, my husband was never an attorney, so I didn't have to do that. And then when he had to have nice, crisp white shirts, I
Mhm,
did them myself at home because they were
mhm.
underneath the coat. So he didn't take the coat off while he was at work. So,
Yeah.
but if you can afford it, if you can squeak a little bit out of your budget, if your guy needs to have nice shirts, send them out, because it
Mhm,
just helps you. It just helps free you up a little bit. And
mhm,
just being able to relax a little bit about that one thing can
mhm.
be so helpful. But
Yeah.
if you send shirts out to the dry cleaners, when you get them shirts in, take the bags off immediately and
Yes.
put them in the trash. Immediately. Don't wait.
Mhm.
Immediately.
And ball them up in time up in knots.
Yes, ball them up, tie
Mhm.
them up in knots. And I tell you why I say that. There was a girl at our church whose
Mhm.
baby died from asphyxiation. I remember I must have been a teenager, and I remember I was sitting there in church, and all of a sudden, one of the ladies in the church, she just got up all of a sudden and was rushing out. And I'm like, you knew something was wrong.
Mhm,
And someone had been to the cleaners and
mhm,
had laid the dry cleaning across the crib. The baby pulled
mhm.
it down, poured it over the face, and suffocated. And
Oh,
the problem with those plastic bags is when you go, it
yes.
closes off the nose
Yeah.
and it closes off the mouth, and the baby
Yes.
suffocated. So
Oh,
I never forgot that. So I don't allow those plastic bags in my
no.
house,
Mhm,
just because
mhm.
I remembered that.
Right.
So for you young moms out there, if you do send the shirts out, get the plastic off. The
Mhm,
minute it comes in the house, tie it in knots and put it in the trash. I'm
mhm.
not trying to do a downer, but I just like, okay, I have to make sure we tell them that.
Yes, and there are now very nice hanging containers that you can put in your closet. I know I have them listed in my Amazon shop because I use them for my dresses, and he has them for his shirts,
Mhm.
and where you can put those shirts in and zip it up. And
Mm-hmm.
then that way you can take them out of the bag, put them in there, and they're nice and neat and they stay clean. There's no dust. So
Yes.
that helps tremendously in just kind of keeping that going and making sure that you don't have all of the plastic around, especially if you have young ones.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So now Debbie said that spices don't typically spoil or rot, which is true, but as you said, they do lose potency, flavor, and aroma over time, usually within 1 to 4 years. And that's what you always talk about, like at the
Mm-hmm.
holiday time, check those spices. I'm
Yes.
one who tends to keep those spices for several years. And so now, like, I had a couple spices that were still in the jar from the AMP, which has been a
Oh my
long,
Lord.
yeah, it's been a long time. So I've kind of gotten rid of all those. I still have a couple of the bottles that are empty, and I like the McCormick jars, but you know,
Yes.
McCormick has changed all their packaging.
Oh yes. Oh
But I
yes.
still have those old jars on my door.
Mm-hmm.
I just like the way they are. But yes, they do lose potency.
Mm-hmm.
And then Blue Skies, or rather, Soft Pages Studio. Oh, she got her a second video up on her channel where she reviewed 5 planners. So for those of you
Yay.
that have not yet gotten your planner for 2026, check out Soft Pages Studio, and you can check out the planners she reviewed. She did some really nice ones. And
Mm-hmm.
she said after mom passed in 2020, she went through the spice cabinet. Oh my goodness, spices in there from the 70s. I believe it. My mom didn't throw away anything.
Oh, bless her heart. But
I
you know, they didn't. Moms didn't do that. You kept those spices until you finally used them up.
They use things up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they use things up. So Debbie said she washes that red shirt that bleeds with black clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Becky, longtime follower, glad she didn't miss the
Oh,
live. Laundry is a struggle over here with 4 daughters. Oh yeah, 4 girls.
yes.
11, 9, 7, and 2. Her older 3 share a room and their clothes all get mixed together. You know, you've got 11, 9, 7, and 2. You know, the 3 older girls are old enough to participate in
Mm-hmm.
the laundry routine. And so what you might consider having them do, Becky, is when it's time to do laundry, have them teach them how you want the clothes sorted.
Mm-hmm.
And you could probably start with them. If you want to do lights and darks, you
Mm-hmm.
can. But like we said earlier, that advice now has changed a little bit. So you
Mm-hmm.
can start teaching them if the clothes will act the same way in cold water, warm water, using good detergent and all of that. All of that makes a different state. And you can also use those color catchers.
Colored. Yeah.
They
They're
help
nice.
they help quite a bit. But you could start teaching them if you've got 3 girls, this
Mm-hmm.
will generate a lot of clothes. So they could put
Mm-hmm.
all of their t-shirts and tops in one pile. They could
Mm-hmm.
have all their jeans and pants in another pile,
Mm-hmm.
their underwear, and the 11-year-olds probably starting to wear like training bras and stuff like that. They always
Mm-hmm.
got their little undies. So you could have a pile of delicates, a
Mm-hmm.
pile of, like lighter weight clothes, and then everybody's got fleeces and sweatshirts and all those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
But you could get them to start sorting piles like that.
That's true. And our color coded hangers. So
Yes.
that if they have room to hang, then this one has pink hangers, this one has
Mhm.
gray, this one has blue. And so they know, and they've got the little clips to them.
Yes.
So, because I mean, their pants can be clipped. Because
Mhm.
I do that with the big guy. I clip his pants and shorts so that they can hang nicely
Mhm.
and they're not necessarily folded on a hanger.
I
Mhm.
think that's saying a lot right there, Miss Leona. If you want to make sure you have the proper tools to
Mhm.
make it easy for them. And their underwear is going to be different sizes. You know, the 7-year-old's panties is going to be a lot smaller than the 11-year-olds. So, they can just after they come out of the dryer, throw them in different little baskets. They can take their
Mhm.
own things to their own drawer area. They can either
Mhm.
stack them or fold them, whatever, but
Mhm.
get their undies put away and
Mhm.
have those tools for their clothing so they can get them hung
Absolutely.
up right away. And the 7-year-old, the 9-year-old, I'm thinking, well, at least for the 7-year-old, children's hangers might still work
Mhm.
for her.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then regular size hangers for the older clothes. But when you
Mhm.
buy clothes for them, I would always ask to take the hangers with me because then they're the right
Mhm.
size for
Mhm.
kids' clothes.
That's
Like
true.
this one, this is like a regular adult size hanger, but I don't
Right.
have children's hangers anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had those children's size hangers, just put them right there in the laundry basket. And when they take them up, they can just stick them right there in the closet.
Oh
So,
yeah. And now they have those I call it almost a hanging rack where you
yes.
can get, and they have the layers, different layers of little
Hmm.
clips that
Hmm.
you can change the size of.
Hmm.
And I tell you what, even the little blouses and shirts, if you want them to stay nice, you can hang them by their little shoulders, clip them right in, and they stay nicely and they won't get wrinkled.
Hmm. So while we're talking, let me just ask the chat, how many loads of laundry do you normally do a day? And is it 0, 1, 2, or 3? Let us know in the chat. So we want to know about that, and then we'll come back to that. We'll check that out in a minute. But so if their clothes get all mixed together, now this is what my philosophy is, and this is what I normally tell my clients: no more than 2 laundry baskets in your house, because the laundry baskets are meant. These are just tips to help you sort things out. It is not meant to shame you. It's meant to help you figure things out. And what I have learned over time is if you have more than 2 laundry baskets, they
Mhm.
become storage baskets.
That's true.
If you
I am a
only
witness.
have, and yeah, and
Mhm.
it's kind of just like those brown trash bags.
Mhm.
Remember the brown grocery bags you used to get, and
Uh-huh.
you use those to line your trash can liner.
Mhm.
That's what we used for trash bags back in the day. And then we
Mhm.
came out with Glad bags and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But to this day, if I inadvertently set a brown grocery bag on the floor,
Uh-huh.
my husband's going to throw trash in it. Conditioning, because that was what we used those for.
Right.
So with the laundry baskets, if you have more than 2, you're
Mhm.
going to throw clothes in it, and then they're going to pile up. And the next thing you
Mhm.
know, you're washing clean clothes because dirty clothes got mixed in, and
Mhm.
you don't know which is which now.
That's true.
So
That's true.
my advice in general is
Mhm.
that you don't have more than 2 laundry baskets so you can use them to transport. However, you've got 4 daughters and
Mhm.
their clothes get mixed together, you might want to have 4 small baskets,
Mhm.
or yes, either that or make small piles. And so
Mhm.
um, Alice's clothes go in this basket, Brenda's clothes go in this basket, Cookie's clothes go on this one, and the baby's
Mhm.
clothes go on that one. And
Mhm.
then everyone takes their basket except for the baby.
Right.
Everyone can take their basket up to their room,
Mhm.
put their things away. But like Fly Lady Cat's husband said, you have to inspect what you
Mhm.
expect.
That's
So
right.
if you send them up to their room or into their room to put those things away, you have to make sure they got put away. I've
That's right.
done laundry. When I would go visit my daughter, one of the things I would always do is I would do laundry. I love laundry, so I would do laundry. I would wash the kids' clothes and I would wash her
Mhm.
clothes. I didn't do her husband's clothes because I
Mhm.
didn't want to invade his privacy. But I would do the
Yeah.
kids' clothes and I would do his clothes. One day I was there. It must have been, I know it's a good year that I had been there. And I was in my grandson's closet and I dumped the laundry basket out. He had one of those hampers. At the bottom of the hamper were folded clothes.
No.
Clothes that I had folded when I had been there the last time. I was like, what are these clean clothes still doing in here? Now, of course, they're not clean now because he done piled all kind of dirty clothes on top, whatever.
Mhm.
I'm like, seriously? So inspect what you expect.
That's true. That's
Now,
true.
Leona, do you have any other suggestions for her? I'm thinking that she might want to have a different little basket or something for each child, which is,
You
against my
know,
advice.
well,
But I think that might be what works out best for her. And I don't want to be
yeah.
rigid. So what do you think?
I agree with that. Or either if she has like one of the rectangular ones that's long, at
Mhm,
least have a larger one for the 7, 9, 11, so that when they
mhm.
take it into the room, they can work together. And
Oh,
the nice thing is that the 11 and 9-year-old are kind of teaching the 7-year-old
mhm.
hopefully the right thing to do. So as they're working and they're going through, then they'll see what to do. Because I know just working with my granddaughter when she was little, she saw me folding clothes, our
Mhm.
clothes, and she said, "Oh, I like that." And so she learned how to fold the clothes just because she was watching.
Mhm.
But and her mom does this thing where she folds it in half and like underwear, those kind of things, and socks, then rolls them up.
Mhm.
And so they have a little place. She has a whole drawer. Everything's nice and neat. And so with the pants, when she was small, she could actually lay the pants out flat.
Mhm.
And so they had a place. And so up until probably just recently, it's at the point of where, they've got to actually start folding things
Mhm.
because she's gotten tall. But certainly the three girls, if you don't want to do three baskets, and certainly for their room, since they're all in one room, then
Mhm.
they can take that basket into the room. But I'm telling you, you do have to inspect,
Mhm.
or either have them put their clothes all together and you look at it, and you all together for a little while place them into the drawer
Yeah.
and see that where they need to go. And and that's part of the teaching, and it's fun.
Mhm.
Oh, you did a good job, da 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 da. And make it fun, make it beneficial.
Yes.
And dessert doesn't come until everything's put away. And so but there's a reward at the end. And
Yes.
so besides just having clean clothes, because they could care less. And so, but with the 2-year-old, then certainly mom's going to have to do those.
Well, and the 2-year-old's going to have fun watching the other ones doing what they're doing,
Exactly.
and the 2-year-old is going to want to help too.
Yeah.
So they could like carry little socks over. We'll go put this in the drawer, and they can,
Uh-huh.
just kind of
Hmm.
make it fun for them.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
So that's fun. That's a fun group and a good
Mhm.
age range.
Okay, let's see.
Well, we've got a lot who are talking about their baskets. And I have to admit, Miss Denise, I don't have 50 baskets now. I'm down to one. And so, I've got one. And that's so good because whatever's in there is in and
Mhm.
out. So,
Yeah, so Susie is here from South Texas. She's working on Wednesday evenings, but she was able to catch us today. Good. So Susie says she's a mom of many. She's
oh,
been a
wow.
domestic engineer for 25 years and appreciates the tips she picks up from us. Oh, thank you so much,
Oh,
Susie.
thank you.
Appreciate that. Then you might have some tips you might want to share as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Tutu said she washed diapers for her first baby in 1980. My
Yep.
last baby was 1980, and we had diaper service by that time.
Well,
Thank God.
81, and I was washing diapers. Yep.
And then cloth diapers for Susie for the first 4.5 babies. She stopped
Hmm.
when baby number 5 was a few months old because she was just done. Honey, I get it. I
I hear
get it.
you.
I get it. I get it.
Oh, it's a chore. Oh.
So let's see. Come on, computer. So let's see. Some is 146. Her name is
Andrea. She's in
Andrea. Yes,
Andrea.
Andrea.
Hmm.
She says she only washes her husband's clothes separately because they're usually coated in drywall material or
Hmm.
paint. All
Hmm.
the rest she washes together. And that makes sense. So,
That makes sense.
you've got work clothes that you're washing.
Hmm.
And so you might need to wash them a little differently. I have
Hmm.
a video where I had washed some work clothes, and I think I had washed my brother's work clothes and my niece's husband's work clothes.
Hmm.
Um, and this is so funny though. So I needed to do a thumbnail for washing the work clothes.
Hmm.
And I didn't get the thumbnail before I did the laundry. So I
Hmm.
needed to get some pants dirty. And my niece's husband wore jeans to work.
Okay.
So I got a pair of my husband's jeans, went outside, I put mud and stuff on them so that I could simulate work clothes. And I brought them in the house, and I had them laying on the counter so that I could get a good picture.
Hmm.
I was like, what the heck? And I said, well, I need to do a thumbnail about men's work clothes. He said, well, what do you think? Leona, he was just outdone. But then I thought, I'm gonna have to get all this mud out of these jeans since I put it on there. Which I was able to get it washed out, but it was just so funny. But yeah, you do.
Things we do.
Yeah. But sometimes you do have to wash them differently. And you know what I found was really good for men's work clothes. Like I said, I did my brother's clothes, and he was a custodian at a high school. And then my niece's husband worked in a factory like GM or something like that. And they would get like a little odor from the factory in them.
Mm-hmm.
I used Persil on
Mm-hmm.
those, and it did a great job. And then
Yeah.
something else that worked really well on men's clothes was Tide.
Oh yeah. I love Tide. I love
Did a
Tide.
great job. I have not now. I like to use Dirty Labs now,
Uh-huh.
but I
Mm-hmm.
have not had any men's work clothes to wash like that. Because my husband's not always great about me like getting other men's clothes and wash. Like I would get some clothes from my niece or from my brother, so I would have things to wash that were different from his
Uh-huh.
shirts and his fishing gear. Well, now that he's fishing all the time, he's fishing more now.
Mhm.
They can be quite stinky. You know, my Dirty
Yeah.
Labs. Oh, so Susie says
Okay.
different laundry days for different family members. Monday
Mhm.
and Thursday, boys. Tuesday and Friday, girls. Wednesday and Saturday, mom and dad. Sunday for emergency loads only. I like that. That's a
I
good
like
idea.
that too. I like that too.
Susie, that's a rhythm.
Uh-huh.
That
Uh-huh.
rhythm is working for your family. So Monday and Thursday, boys. Tuesday and Friday, girls. Wednesday and Saturday, mom and dad, and then Sunday for the emergency loads only. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday. So y'all doing laundry
Mhm.
Monday through Saturday.
Mhm.
Have Sunday for like necessary things. I
Right.
do kitchen linens on Sundays sometimes because you know it's
Mhm.
not a lot. It can be a nice little small load,
Mhm.
but by the time you've gone through a week, you know you could have 2 loads of kitchen linens. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Oh yeah.
extra credit laundry question.
Huh?
I have just purchased 3 new sweaters, deep purple, red, and black. They're all cotton. Would you wash them in 3 separate loads? What would you recommend? Deep purple, red, and black.
Ooh.
I would probably wash them separately. But
Mhm.
I'm thinking they're probably all going to have a little bit of dye shift just
Mhm.
because they're new.
Mhm.
Deep purple could shed
It
purple
will
on that
shed.
red,
It
and
will
black
shed.
now, after they've been washed a couple times, I wouldn't worry so much about it because the purple probably wouldn't, matter with the
Mhm.
red or with the black. But
Mhm.
black could fade on the red, so I
Oh
would
yeah.
wash them separately, small
Mhm.
loads, or
Mhm.
maybe you could even like get one of those 5-gallon buckets, fill it with
Mhm.
cold water,
Mhm.
and do a good rinse. Put the vinegar in
Mhm.
there like you
Little
said,
vinegar.
that kind of
Mhm.
thing. I might
Mhm.
do just that at first, but and on a general cycle, yeah, I would wash those separately. The
Mhm.
first few washes until you're pretty comfortable that the
Mhm.
dye has pretty much all drifted out,
Oh
and
yeah.
then the purple and the black could probably go together. But
Yeah, and definitely cold water always.
and a good detergent like Dirty Labs
Mhm.
or Persil or Tide.
Mhm. Our
You know,
tie.
some good
Mhm.
detergents like that that's going to
Mhm.
help with the color brightening and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes I will use the Woolite black.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Woolite darks. They have a Woolite
Dark.
that's specifically for
Mhm.
darks. That
Mhm. And I think Tide
automatically-
has a formula just for dark clothes as well.
okay, and that
Okay.
can kind of help keep the
Mhm.
color nice and bright too.
Mhm.
Each group
Okay.
of kiddos does their own laundry, including their
Okay.
sheets and towels. Boom!
Wow.
I
Good
like it.
job. I
Well,
love it.
there was a lady that her son was on the soccer team with Justin, and
Mhm.
when they were in high school, and she said when her kids got 9,
Mhm.
taught them how to do their own laundry, how to
Mhm.
run the washing machine and all of that. I'm like, that's a good
Mhm.
idea because
It
they
is.
can top the washing machine, they can push buttons, they can
Mhm.
work all these cell phones and video games. Yeah, they can learn to do
Oh
laundry.
yeah, they can learn. They can learn.
So Nitty T says, "Oh, come on, computer." She used to do her kids' clothes separately in Dreft. Yes,
Mhm.
I used Dreft when the kids were
Yep.
little. And then Minnie says they separate baby clothes from the adult clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Son has sensitive skins, grandson.
Mm-hmm. So they have a special soap for him. Sure. And most of the brands now have a sensitive skin formula and to use.
And then Debbie used to use cold water, gentle cycle with baby laundry soap. And there are baby laundry soaps that you can get that's for sensitive skin and all that kind of thing. And Becca says that she separates her girls' laundry by drying style. So it can be dried and folded for drawers, drying for things she doesn't want to shrink, and then things like sweaters and dresses that can be dried on hangers. That's a great idea. And I have 3 drying racks, and I hang my husband's T-shirts and things on. I don't want them to shrink, so they come out of the dryer and they go in the drying rack, or his sweatshirts and fleeces and those kinds of things, and then shirts on the dryer. So yeah, good idea. And sounds like she's got her tools. Got her tools.
And the nice thing is, so many of the dresses now, you really can wash them with a gentle laundry soap and cold water, and rather than having to send them to the cleaners. So that's nice.
Debbie said years ago she was at a laundromat and a young man came in and was staring at the washers like he had no clue what to do. She went over and asked if he needed help, and he said, yes, please. So she taught him how to sort and wash and dry them. And yeah, I had a guy, Leona, as close as 2 years ago. It was like every week he was emailing me questions about how to wash his clothes.
Well, it was cute when my grandson was going to college this past year. Before he left, he came over. He said, Mimi, I need to learn how to do my laundry. So we went right upstairs to the laundry room, sorted out some clothes so he could see. I said, now, when you come back, your white should be white. And I said, now, these clothes you can put together, but they need to stay on cold. And so he was able to do it. So now he's gotten to be a pro at it. He does that laundry and does it real well.
Oh, that is so cute. Becca said their sizes are similar, and she feels if she blinks, they're passing their clothes down to the sister down the line. Yeah, they grow fast at that age. They really do. You were talking about your grandson. My grandson goes to Morehouse. Their laundry facilities are free for the boys.
Yes.
It's free. But his sister goes to Spelman. They have to pay. So the girls have to pay for their laundry. The boys is free. I guess they figure the boys not going to wash their clothes unless it's free.
Well, the
girls have to pay for theirs.
Yeah, Bernie's at Norfolk State, and their student card has a little tag on it. So all he has to do is hold it up to the washer or to the dryer, and bam, it's ready to go. So they all have access to it.
Are they using it?
Well, now that's a good question, because I'm always asking, did you wash your sheets?
Well, do they have to wash their sheets?
Yeah, he had to take sheets.
Oh, you know what?
Now, back when I was in college, you didn't.
Yeah, we didn't have to either.
We didn't have to do that, but he had to take sheets.
So Debbie says she likes the color catchers, and I know the Minimal Mom loves color catchers. I know. So now, Sue does 3 loads a day, because we ask how many loads that people do a day. She does 3 a day. Nitty does 0. Andrea does 2 to 3 on Mondays and Fridays. Sue has triple basket hamper, lives in the laundry room. 1 section for boys, 1 for girls, and 1 for her and husband. Okay. Changing to only 2 baskets was a huge game changer for her. It helps her keep, I'm validated. Having 2 laundry baskets helped her stay on top of things. And look at that little baby doll in that picture. Isn't she adorable? Cute?
She's a doll. Oh.
Pray Your Way Through is here. Nitty T is here. So Heather does 1 load a day.
1 load every other day.
Every other day. And then Sue says Mama definitely has to inspect what she expects. And then Debbie says even at 2, they can put things in baskets. And
Hmm.
so Tutu says her husband does laundry for himself,
Oh.
her and the baby, and he does 2 loads a day. Her daughter does her own laundry, 3 loads a week,
Hmm.
and the weekly bed sheets and blankets add 3 more loads. Okay.
Okay.
Cozy says she's not doing a load a day. She did attempt that when she first started watching my channel. She was at home at the time, but when she returned to work, and because of the steep stairs, that
Okay.
didn't work out. You know what, though, Coco? When I say 1 load a day, that's what works out for me now.
Hmm. Hmm.
When I was a young mom at home, that may not have worked out then. So you have to do what works out best for your family.
Right.
If you're home, that might have worked out, but now that you're going back to work
Hmm.
and you're working outside the home, when you get home from work, you're tired and you got to have conserve some energy to care for your family for the rest of the night. So
That's
you might
true.
just be doing all your laundry on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
I,
So
I
you're
even consider, she says she's struggling.
Mhm.
And, it is hard. And especially coming home. And,
Yes.
another thing with coming home, of course, you're trying to get dinner going, but it may be, now I don't know, you can let me know, but it may be that while dinner's cooking, you might be able to load the laundry. And then the following day, that would be the day that you would take it out and
Mhm.
try to, and get it folded. But I know a lot of times when the schedule was really crazy and I was in school and working and had babies at home, then that's what I had to do. I had to use, I had to cook and try to get some laundry going. And so, you try to find a way to multitask as much as possible. And it is a struggle. It's
Mhm.
not going to be easy. I'm sorry. I can't say that at that point it was easy, because it wasn't. I
No,
just
it's
have to
not.
be honest. And, but it does help being able to cut back, because then you can claim a day, claim
Yes.
your weekend, because you really do deserve to be able to take a breather on Saturday and Sunday as much as possible, so that you can be ready for Monday to start again.
And don't hesitate if you can work it into the budget. I was
Mhm.
listening to a YouTube today, and there was an ad on about this girl said she sent her laundry out. Somebody
Mhm.
came, Pops or some laundry place that
Mhm.
they picked up her dirty clothes and they brought them back clean. If
Mhm.
if it's feasible,
Mhm.
see if you can drop your clothes off at the laundromat, because they
Mhm.
do laundry and then
They
pick them up
do.
on the way home, or they might even deliver them. Or you could
Mhm.
have a family member that might be willing to help you with
Mhm.
laundry. You might, pay them a little bit each week, and
Mhm.
you might do the laundry.
Yeah.
And so just think about that. And I know for
Mhm.
most of us that's not feasible, but for some of us it might be.
Mhm.
So, maybe instead of getting your nails done every month or something like that, you might decide, you know what, I'm gonna pay somebody to do laundry.
Yeah. And
Yeah, like me, like I didn't get my nails done and that kind of thing because we couldn't do that at work. Because
Mhm.
I was worked
Right.
as a nurse and we couldn't wear all that.
Mhm.
I got my hair done every week. I had to
Oh,
decide,
yeah.
what am I going to do for me?
Mhm.
I need to pay somebody to do laundry for you,
Mhm.
just so you
Mhm.
have that extra hour to just rest. And if that's not
Mhm.
feasible, it's okay.
It's okay.
Do what you can and leave the rest.
That's right. You get as much done as you can.
Hmm. Uh, let's see. Debbie puts vinegar in her laundry as a booster.
Mhm.
Delightfully his. I think that's Roshonda back
Yes.
from Bible
Yes.
study.
She got in. Good.
Natural fat. Let's see. Fabric softener. Vinegar works as a
Mhm.
natural fabric softener, odor eliminator, and brightener by removing detergent residue,
Oh,
bounces people.
yeah.
All that is true. I like vinegar
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
Vinegar in my towels, that what helps
Me
keep
too. Me
off,
too.
reduces static and all that. Free and Radical says she tries to do a load daily. That works
Mhm.
out best if you can.
Yes.
Um, she says she does a load at night.
Hmm.
and then in the dryer while at work, and then she
Uh-huh.
folds while dinner is cooking. That's what you
That's a
said.
good routine. That's a
That's just
good
what you
routine.
said. That's a good routine
Absolutely.
as well.
Hmm.
And Coco says she's considering sending laundry out. You know what? If you can afford
Hmm.
it, girl, do it.
Yeah,
Because like I said, men don't hesitate to send laundry out. They
that's
get
right.
the clothes done, they
That's
get the laundry done, whatever. So if you can afford it, get it sent out. That just gives you a little bit of time to breathe and
right.
enjoy your family.
That's true. We have a new laundromat that's close to us, and I went to take my bedding because my washer can do it, but I need to take it to dry.
Mhm.
And you would not believe, well, you probably would, the number of people who they do it by the pound.
Mhm.
But I mean, people are bringing their laundry to them, letting them handle it. They come back, the laundry is all nicely folded and in nice bags for them
Mhm.
to, and they even take it out to their car to, as they come and pick it up in the afternoon. And I'm just sitting there watching, thinking, wow, that would
Mhm.
have been so worth $25, $30 just
Yeah.
to get all that out. But then there was also a lady next to me, and she had four little ones, 12 months, 2, 3, and 4. So
Oh.
that lady was doing laundry all the time. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. She had two long tables of laundry. I didn't think that lady was ever going to get finished. And in fact, I had finished what I needed to do and was getting ready to go. So I told her, I said, I offered her my dryer because it still had time on it. So she kind of break it up and dry faster. And she said, well, she said, I bring all of it to the laundromat. This is my only quiet moment.
Ah,
So that was her logic. She said,
I
I've got a
get it.
washer and dryer at home. She said, but I do this. And the kids are at home with the husband.
I love it. I love it.
I clapped for her. I said, you are a smart lady. I love it.
I get it. It makes perfect
Yes.
sense. It makes perfect sense. So Tutu says hubby does all the washing, but she does all the folding and putting away. So
Okay.
it works well with both of them working together.
Mhm.
Okay, so I think we're missing something. I better check to see that we catch everything.
Let's see.
So
We got the fabric weight. We got the days, the rhythm.
we got that. We talked about the laundry baskets for transport, but we also
Mhm.
talked about what the other needs were. Let's back up to housekeeping for a second because we skipped that part and we don't have a
Yeah.
lot, but I do want to hit that just real quick
Mhm.
for those that cleaning is the issue. Now, the thing with the house, let me ask you first off, what one corner of your house do you feel caught up on right now? Let us know, like where you feel caught up.
Mhm.
And then what feels hardest about your home keeping? And is it time? Is it motivation? Or is it fatigue? Now
Hmm.
I know like today, like myself, I get tired more easily. So that's probably a struggle for me is that I get tired more easily. So I break things up and to
Mhm.
make sure that I can get everything done. So think about that. But as we look at what are some of the things to consider in regards to homekeeping? You need to have a rhythm or a system there as well. And as I mentioned last week, I like to use the Fly Lady system. And I like the Fly
Mhm.
Lady system because it is a series of routines that helped me get back on track. And
Mhm.
it's flexible enough that I can move it around and I can
Mhm.
make it fit my needs. And there's other routines, like there's
The something mama. The
yeah,
something mama.
there's that, yeah, but there's something,
Mhm.
Mama. There's a couple different ones, or you could come
Mhm.
up with your own routine.
And the nice thing too about the fly lady is that once you've practiced the routine,
Hmm.
you can adjust it to fit you.
Boom, right there.
You can adjust it to fit you. Initially you want to stay with it perfectly because
Hmm.
you want to make sure that you're doing what needs to be done. And
Hmm.
then you may find that, oh, I can kind of change that. And then you
Right.
can make it work for you.
You have to get you. get the system. And then once you get the system, like you said, you can shift it around. So the nice thing about the Fly Lady is that it has a daily reset instead of deep cleaning. So like every day there's some action that you're supposed to take. And then there's also weekly actions where you're not focused on the whole house at one time, which is helpful. And then you have your various zones, which kind of breaks things down into pieces. So, and it's not looking at perfection. And then you're looking at progress. So like, I like the Fly Lady system because I don't have to think about what am I going to do today in regards to the week. Now, I do have to decide what task I'm going to do. But on Monday, I know it's the weekly home blessing. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to do my daily swish and swipe. And then I'm going to decide which 4 15-minute tasks am I going to do for the week. And I'm only going to do one task for the day. Now, this is the first week of the month. Wait, yeah, this is the first week of the month. So that is week 1 is like the entryway, the front porch, the back patio. So that means that I'm going to be doing something in the entryway. So the 4 15-minute tasks could be that I'm going to maybe wash the mirror that's in the entryway, sweep the floor, maybe decorate, vacuum the landing. Maybe it's going to be sweep the porch. Well, not right now with all this snow, but it could be something like that. Or it could be wipe the storm door, that kind of thing. And then next week is the kitchen. And so I'll pick 4 things to do in the kitchen. One thing 4 days a week that shouldn't take more than 15 to 20 minutes. And it just kind of keeps me going, in that vein. And then if I decide, well, you know what, I'm not going to pay attention to the Fly Lady this week. I've done it enough to know what I need to do and when. And like you said, I can adjust it to suit my needs. And it just helps me not have that decision fatigue. And we've been talking a lot about decision fatigue.
Yeah. Fly Lady is a fantastic system. And, of course, she has adopted those baby steps. That's where I kind of got into it. And I like the fact that you're not cleaning all day.
Yes.
You hit it and you go, and you still have life. Because I know my mother was a get up Saturday morning early, and we didn't stop until everything was done Saturday night. And I just couldn't do it. When I started, it was like I was bound and determined that was not going to be the way that I was going to handle it, because I wanted to have my weekend. And so as you think about that, think about what's important. If you're in church on Sunday, then you probably don't want to have to come home and start cleaning and doing all those things, unless something has happened during the week that forces you to have to do that. But if you can lighten your weekend and kind of focus on the week, think of it that way.
Yes.
Then, when Friday comes, it's kind of like get up on Saturday, and it's so nice. So nice. Such a refresh.
I looked up that cleaning routine, and it's Clean Mama.
Clean Mama, yes.
Yeah, there's Clean Mama, and there's the Incremental Mama, and there's a couple things. You can probably look at YouTube videos to find out different cleaning routines, or you can even check with Chat GPT now and say, you know what? So like some of the ladies that were saying how overwhelmed they were. What was I can't remember her name that said she was struggling.
Oh, that was Coco.
So you could like go to Chat GPT and say, look, I'm struggling. I need a cleaning routine that works for me and my family. And just put in the details, not your name or anything like that. But I have 3 children. I work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I'm only off on weekends. I don't want to spend all day or Saturday cleaning the house and doing laundry. What are some things that I can get that give me a routine that flows?
That will work.
And sometimes they can give you some suggestions on things that you can do, or you could do time blocking on Saturday that, so I'm going to spend from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock to clean the house and get the laundry started. And at 10 o'clock, I'm done.
And hold yourself to that. Hold yourself to that. And that's the thing about Fly Lady. You're on a clock. That 15 minutes is over with, done. That's it. Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah, so that's it. So, all right. So, Leona, is there anything else you want to say about the house?
Well, I tell you what, the house, you have to look at it this way. The house is for you to be happy.
Yes.
And I don't know who it was last week that said, when you think about guests coming in, remember you're the guest too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You're the guest too. So you want to be able to walk through that front door and smile at what you see.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's nothing but at night, a quick pickup where
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of picked up, then, and that's nice for hubby too. When he walks in, it's sometimes for them, he's not going around with a white glove and
No.
touch all the surfaces. But when he can come in and actually see space,
Mm-hmm.
and it's nice. And I found that if you let them know what it is you need help with, they'll help.
Yes.
They will help. And so you just have to say, I need some help with this. Can you help me do so and so? Or do it together. And it makes it even better.
And that's the thing that I noticed today is that we don't have those strict gender roles that when we were coming up that we had at that time.
You're right.
Today's young couples seem to work together. So let your partner know what you need. Because like, babe, I'm struggling here. I need some help.
Yeah.
Let him know what it is that you need. It could be help with meals. It could be help with cleaning. Could be help with dishes, like after dinner. Everybody helps with the after dinner cleanup. So while maybe he washes dishes, you put the food away, you're wiping down the table and, but everybody's in the kitchen doing something. The kids can carry their plates over. They can scrape them in the trash, whatever. But everyone can do something. And while you guys are doing that, you can chat about your day and whatever. Talk about
sing songs, whatever, if you're trying to learn something. But, it's nice to be able to work together as a family. And, the pride comes together. The togetherness really does. It brings your relationship together as well. So that's nice.
And keep in mind, too, that everyone is in a different season.
That's right.
The season that I am in right now is just he and I here at the house. Is completely different than when we were both working every day and we had 3 kids and kids are running back and forth to school for cheerleading and basketball and soccer and everything. And I'm driving, I'm being the chauffeur.
The shuttle service.
Right. He's busy coaching, not getting home until 7 or 7:30 at night, so I'm the one there at the house doing homework and meals and all that kind of stuff. And I know you had times when Conway was away busy and stuff like that.
Yeah, he traveled. And, think about this too, like those of you who are ladies, and I know there's some gents out there too, but remember, you don't have to be the one to put the clothes in the washer and get it set. If it comes to where, like I was telling you that I set it up at night, and see, there's no reason that hubby can't come along and put those clothes in, and you've already got the washer set. He can start the washer. And so then that part's not on you. You've done the first part. He handles that part. And then together, you all take them out and fold them up or put them wherever they need to go. So you kind of work out that teamwork together. But, it's just nice. And, but I see Delightfully His, which I believe is Rashonda. She's asking whether or not you have a video of you're doing the Fly Lady system in your home. And I'm going, yes.
Yeah.
You do.
I think I do. Yeah. I've done several videos where I've shown the different things, but I've been asked about it a couple times. So I guess I need to do some more, or at least create a playlist or something. But yes, but when you think about how to do the Fly Lady system, it can be a little overwhelming, but one person I think who explains it really well is Fly Lady Cat.
Yes.
She explains it really well, and she has a series of videos, and some of them are old that helps you. I've got several videos where I've done like my 4 15-minute tasks. Where I will be in the kitchen, and then on Monday I'm doing the microwave. On Tuesday I'm cleaning the stainless steel in the kitchen. Then maybe on not Tuesday, but on Wednesday, I'm doing the stainless steel in the kitchen. Then on Thursday, maybe I'm on the floor, get into the corners of the floors, or I'm cleaning, doing the pantry area or something like that.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Now, she says the timer makes her feel accomplished.
Hmm.
That's a goal and reached it, even if she didn't complete
Good.
the task to perfection. Yes, and that's what you want, because
Hmm.
it's not about being perfect. And yes, Fly Lady Cat is great.
Yes, she is.
Roshana wants to know if you have Fly Lady videos, and I don't know if you do or not. Do you?
I don't. I don't. But I will. That'll be something I work on. I'll jot it down
Mhm.
because I have some things, but I didn't put them under the label of Fly Lady Cat. So I will handle that.
Mm-hmm. So Debbie says when her kids were little, she got their baths and went to bed about 8 o'clock, and that was her downtime. And then she watched
Hmm.
and watched a little TV. So yeah, you can have the TV on while you're finishing up the dishes, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
But yes, so be sure to search that. And I
I
do have
will.
that. We knew what you meant, Debbie. Yeah, we knew what you meant. So okay, I think that was it. I guess the biggest thing is that give yourself grace too.
Amen.
Give yourself grace, because like we said, everyone's in a different season, everyone has different skill sets, and everyone has learned different routines.
Yeah.
So do what you can and let go of the rest. Try to
That's
find a
it.
system that will work for you.
And when you have a rough week, chalk it up to just having a rough week
Mm-hmm.
and start the next week fresh. And
Yes.
just, each week you're just trying to do better. And so just breathe, find that one thing that you want to do, and work on it until you get it.
Absolutely. And here,
Mhm.
what I want you guys to do right now is think about what's the one word that
Mhm.
describes how you want your home to feel this week. How do
Mhm.
you want your home to feel? Do you want it to feel peaceful,
Mm.
calm, steady,
Mhm.
clean, or content? For me, I want my home to be peaceful.
Absolutely.
Even if it's not all clean, if it's
Yeah.
peaceful, I'm good.
Me too. Me too. And that's something we had to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we had to learn
Peaceful.
because we didn't necessarily come up under that.
No,
No,
no, we
it
did
had to
not.
be clean. It had to be clean.
Mm-hmm.
And at least ours did. It had to be clean. As I told you, my mom was the one where the lines in the carpet had to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And so it had to be clean.
Mm-hmm.
But then you learn that you can kind of relax and
Relax.
you're looking for peacefulness
Right.
and
And
cozy.
keeping in mind that this is your house,
Mm-hmm.
not your
Mm-hmm.
mama's house,
That's right.
not your grandmother's house.
That's right.
It's your house. And you have to do what works for your family
Mhm.
today. Because, like Leona pointed out earlier, our moms weren't dealing with all the things that you young homemakers are doing right now.
That's
They're
right.
not. So let us know in the chat or in the comment section what one small step you'll take this week, even if it's tiny, to work
Mhm.
on. Choose one small step that you'll take this week. Just one tiny little step, and let us know. If you're on the replay, put it in the comments. If you're here tonight, just put it in the chat. And if
Absolutely.
this helped you, let us know which routine you're choosing,
Mhm.
laundry or homekeeping.
Home.
And please remember, you can tell by what's going on in the chat, you are not alone. And just from the stories we've shared, we've
Yeah.
been there, done that.
Been there, done that, cried through it, and
Yes,
the works. There were days that it brought us to tears, but we have survived.
we have survived.
Hmm.
So if you want more shows like this, let us know what we can address next to help you, because that's our goal,
Hmm.
is to help you become modern home economists. And we already had one said she's becoming that today. So we want to help you guys become modern home economists. And when you're looking at that economy, you're also looking at time and peace of mind.
And money.
Well, yes,
And
money too.
time is money. It is money.
So please don't beat yourself up. Don't feel
Nope.
guilty. Stay connected here at the Modern Home Economist, Miss Leona and myself. Got
Absolutely.
anything to add, Leona, or are we
You
good?
know, I think you've said it all. And remember, perfection is not in anything that we've talked about, because every day we're working toward just trying to get better at what we're doing.
Exactly.
Perfection is not it. So
No,
work to the best that you can.
and leave the rest.
That's right.
All right, we'll see you guys again next week, right here, 7:45 p.m. Eastern. Miss Leona's
Ready to
going to be
go.
the host. She'll have something great in store for you, and we are planning another team up day. We're trying to decide if we're going to be cooking together or we're just going to do cook in our own houses and show you the videos later. What would you guys like to see? Let us know.
Let us know.
You
Let
guys.
us know.
Yes.
Oh, Miss Denise, let me ask you this while I'm thinking about before you say goodbye. Do you have your sourdough starter in your refrigerator?
I used it up. I got to make some more.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're going to have to talk about that when it's all over. Now,
I gotta
see, this is what we do, guys. We come up with all kinds of stuff.
Yes, I got to make some more.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
We'll get that done.
Good night, folks. We'll see you next time. See you next week, 7:45
Next
p.m.
week.
Wednesday.
Be there.
Good night.
Good night.
Be here or be square.
Absolutely.